fair to say you simply flooded the system with money?
Yes.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally. So we, as a central bank, we have the ability to create money that actually increases the money supply. We also print actual currency, and we distribute that through the Federal Reserve banks.
This is it. It is over. This is what the end looks like.
So that I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government.
Something called Bitcoin.
Brother, can you spare a Bitcoin?
Bitcoin. You never heard of them a few weeks ago? Now everybody's talking about them.
The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash, a method whereby on the internet you can transfer funds from A to B without A knowing B or B knowing A.
It happened. Yeah. Satoshi Nakamoto, did you hear about that guy? Came out with a white paper that totally solved that problem. And nothing has changed about that thing. Nothing fundamentally changed about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in the last 2 weeks. Nothing about the way they work or what they're going to do or how cryptocurrencies are changing the world and are going to take over the world. Nothing about that changed over the last couple of weeks, but the price changed quite a bit, and maybe the narrative changed, and maybe it had something to do with Elon Musk, even though I hate to give him credit for anything, and it is frustrating being involved with an asset that changes based on the whims of a moron who thinks he's really smart. But that's where we're at. And he did put out a tweet that was pretty interesting yesterday. This is Elon Musk I'm talking about, who bought Bitcoin, talked up Bitcoin, then decided one day that he didn't want to use Bitcoins anymore. Wanted to get real green and woke. Decided to say he was too woke to use Bitcoins. But that he was holding on, and then watched his investment go down to where basically he was about to lose money on his investment, or at least be underwater. And he decided finally to come out and try to do something productive. So that's what ended up happening, is I think he saw his investment going down and realized that it was his fault and that maybe he should do something productive for Bitcoin and maybe for his investment. And so now we get to find out what billionaires do when it looks like their investment is headed south. And now Elon Musk and Michael Saylor actually both got together, probably mostly driven by Michael Saylor, to try to save the Bitcoin narrative so that Bitcoin can be more green. So that is what's happening, and it might mean that blood coins are going to be a thing. So I want to explain that. Everybody was laughing at this guy who came out and said, there's going to be blood coins. But now what they're talking about actually could make a system where there are good coins and bad coins. Just the opposite of what you want with money, which should be fungible. So we're going to talk about fungibility in the context of blood coins and in the context of clean energy today on the show. Also want to make sure to just mention the bet that Michael Burry made on interest rates and against Tesla, because it is significant. You should be thinking about it. And I also want to mention that an announcement that has to do with a Bitcoin, a crypto meetup. I'm actually going to be hosting that. So I'll talk about that on this show. So this is LTV Crypto. I'm Nathan Stoltman. We have a sponsor. We make t-shirts. This is one of them. The old school Lift the Veil Never Normal shirt. Check out our t-shirts at truthclothing.io. We try to be entrepreneurs, so we have ideas. One of them, t-shirts, and we have Bitcoin t-shirts. We have this really cool Bitcoin Saves t-shirt. And this is the time when it's down that you have to represent, that you have to have faith. Because the value of everything ultimately depends on faith. And you can show that you have faith by wearing our t-shirts, which are ordered and on their way in as far as the crypto stuff goes. Truthclothing.io, free shipping on orders over $50. We get them printed, everything, okay? And then this sign up for the brand new Bitcoin meetups where we get to get together, talk strategy, talk about things we don't talk about on YouTube, and meet new people, and it's a very exciting thing. And it's $5 to go to my website, bitcoinmissionary.com, and sign up for one of these Bitcoin meetups. They're going to be Sundays from 10 a.m. to noon. I really like talking to people about cryptocurrency. I get my best ideas from other people, and I found a way to be able to host like a private Zoom meeting where people can talk about crypto. And so check that out at bitcoinmissionary.com and just sign up for it. We're going to have our second weekly meeting coming up this Sunday, and the first one was epic. So you don't want to miss it. All right. So, okay. So crypto crash, right? First of all, I sent out my newsletter. This is the episode I do after the newsletter goes out. The newsletter goes out completely for free. If you want to sign up for it, it's in the description. But talking about the crash, we're down. Bitcoin went down over 50%. That's big. It's not normal, the crash. And other cryptocurrencies went down even more. And they're just starting to recover. And yesterday was a big recovery day. And today everything's just kind of taking a breather. But this was big. I've been through worse. Because I've been through it. Because I've been in cryptocurrency since 2017. And I think the worst thing, and it's not financial advice, I'd say the thing I want to do the least right now is sell. I'd say the last thing I want to do right now is sell, especially because you could miss out on big moves like yesterday, which again was somewhat credited to what Elon Musk said. But with the way cryptocurrency has fallen so quickly, then certainly the possibility is there that it bounces back as well. And, who knows? Hard to predict the price of cryptocurrency. All I can say is that cryptocurrency is still taking over the world. Bitcoin is still digital gold. And there are a lot of other projects in crypto that have not been derailed in any way because of this energy FUD, which was Elon Musk coming out and saying that he wasn't going to take Bitcoin anymore because Bitcoin uses too much energy and it's bad for the environment. All right, so then we got the big fall all the way down to 30K at the lowest. Here is what Elon Musk said yesterday that got credit. This was credited as being something that made the market pump. All right, Elon Musk put out this tweet. Spoke with North American Bitcoin miners. They committed to publish current and planned renewable usage and to ask miners worldwide to do so, potentially promising. And someone pointed out right underneath that tweet that the price of Bitcoin immediately went up by a couple $1,000 after him tweeting that. To be fair, though, cryptos were already rallying as far as I could tell. Now, what Elon Musk said, and I don't think what he said was totally responsible for the fall in the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. There were also other factors. There was also the fact that Binance was, there was an investigation being announced into Binance. There was this stuff going on in China. Apparently, there's a rumor that one of China's Bitcoin miners was one of the whales unloading lots of Bitcoin during this sell-off. So there are, and on top of that, we had taxes, which happened right, tax day, and the bigger crashes in crypto kind of happened simultaneously. So I'm not saying that the entire drop in the Bitcoin market had to do with this energy FUD, but as I mentioned in my newsletter and stuff, I still think it's worth paying attention to and investing accordingly. Now, I said I didn't sell any Bitcoin, and I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not, but I still believe in it as digital gold, and now Elon Musk says they're going to talk about how it's renewable. Here's the whole thing about the FUD in the first place, and Elon Musk should have known this, and he could have been more productive and not jumped the gun, thought he knew more than everybody else, and said that Bitcoin is dirty. He could have instead talked to people behind the scenes about how to make the energy usage situation seem better. But Elon Musk is an idiot. He doesn't care about his investments. He doesn't care if he loses money, apparently, with the things he says about Bitcoin. Now, maybe he does. But the whole energy usage FUD is, we think, bunk narrative. However, Bitcoin uses a lot of power. That is true. Bitcoin does use a lot of power. The question is, where does the power come from? And there's an argument around Bitcoin that the power comes from power that would otherwise be completely wasted or wouldn't exist in the first place. So these are big arguments for why the energy usage FUD is nothing but FUD, and why you should buy the dip, is that Bitcoin is incentivized. Bitcoin mining is a way to turn power directly into money anywhere in the world. Bitcoin uniquely and cryptocurrencies give you the option to monetize power anywhere on Earth, even if that power wouldn't be useful for generating power for other uses, like heating homes, etc. Maybe it's really far away from where people actually live. Doesn't matter to Bitcoin. And maybe, like I said, that energy would just be wasted. And that is the case. A lot of energy that's used to make Bitcoin is energy that would otherwise be wasted or not exist. So however, some energy used for Bitcoin, maybe you can make an argument. Maybe it could be cleaner. A lot of the cheapest energy to produce in the world is renewable energy. A lot of this energy that is being produced would not be produced if not for Bitcoin, and would not exist if not for Bitcoin. So it's not as if Bitcoin is taking power away from other people or necessarily competing for the same power as other people and therefore driving up prices, which could be problematic, right? If Bitcoin was such an energy hog that it actually drove up the price of energy, then that could be, a reason to say Bitcoin's not that great. But there's arguments that is not going to happen, and so Michael Saylor is on it. He's obviously super invested in crypto. He never says he's not giving financial advice, and he gives very, very risky financial advice. If it was up to Michael Saylor, he would say, sell everything, leverage everything, put it all in Bitcoin. We don't say that on this show because this isn't about financial advice, even though, we're kind of all in too. So check this out. Michael Saylor is talking about it extensively today, this whole energy thing, this whole clean energy thing. And so he's got a bunch of tweets. They put together, here's the story. They put together a council, a Bitcoin mining council now, in order to defend Bitcoin against uninformed and hostile energy critics. So like I said, I think the energy story for Bitcoin genuinely is not a bad energy story. I think genuinely they can make a good argument for why the energy usage of Bitcoin is not bad for the world. So therefore, if that's what they're trying to do, and now they're putting their money behind it, and obviously he's got a lot of invested in the success of Bitcoin. So this is an attempt to basically defend Bitcoin from what he calls uninformed and hostile energy critics. So they're going to talk about how, at least in North America and maybe worldwide, Bitcoin uses renewable energy. You'll hear quotes that say that they make 75% of Bitcoin is from renewable energy. Apparently that's a little misleading, and that 75% of Bitcoin miners use some form of renewable energy is maybe how it should be said. And maybe about half of Bitcoin mining is done currently with renewable energy, but that doesn't count wasted energy. Energy like gas that can't be harvested and needs to be flared off normally. That's energy that would just be wasted otherwise. That's not technically renewable energy, but is energy that nonetheless would have been wasted, would have polluted the air, as much as you believe in that. And so once all that's taken into account, can we change the narrative on power? So you got to ask yourself, has the narrative changed? Does this change the narrative? People say the price of cryptocurrencies rallied because of what Elon Musk says. I think the jury's out. I think the jury's out, and you just don't know which way things are going to go, but I see all the pessimism, and I have to think that's good. And for me, if you want my opinion, I think it's safe to buy the dip, especially if you're looking at it from a long-term perspective. But again, I don't give financial advice, and everybody's got different opinions, and the whole economy could completely crash, and then all projections are totally effed, and that could totally happen. I had to tell you, okay, why does this bring into account that there might be blood coins, and what does this mean for fungibility? That's the question. So in Michael Saylor's tweets, somebody's talking about how, these Bitcoin miners, they want to get together, they want to talk about how they're making Bitcoins in sustainable ways. Well, that opens up the possibility, if they're saying North American miners use renewable energy, or certain miners source coins more ethically than other coins, Bitcoins come into existence in a more ethical way, then you leave the possibility that there's two parts of the same market. The market for virgin Bitcoins and the market for blood Bitcoins. And one is more desirable than the other. And then somehow you have to track these things, and then you don't take, I don't know how. After you get the Bitcoins, I don't understand. What do you do with them, right? Because once you spend them, then they're not virgin coins anymore. And then are they worth less? I don't know. But this is what this leaves open as a possibility, is if these companies are saying, hey, we make clean coins, then are they saying that those clean coins are worth more than another Bitcoin? Because they want you to think, because it's really important. It's really important as a quality of money that money be fungible. It's at least one of the qualities that's listed. Usually they list 5 qualities for money, but it varies. Fungibility, portability, desirability, scarcity, something else. Portability, if I didn't mention that. But fungibility means that one token is no different from another, that they're interchangeable. So with gold is ultimately fungible, ultimately fungible, because you can melt it down and make it into something completely different with no trace of what it was before. So your gold is as good as any gold, right? Your gold coin is as good as any gold, even if it has the tyrant's face stamped on it, even if it's a Nazi gold coin. Let's say there were such a thing. Nazi gold coins would still be worth just as much as any other gold coin, because you could always just melt them down and put a new face on them, right? You could turn them into American golden eagles. So that's fungibility. Well, these guys are talking about making it, Bitcoin is not totally fungible, even though you think one is indistinguishable from another. The fact that you can trace where they came from makes them not as fungible. Because you can trace where it came from, and you can say that's a bad coin. That's a coin that was used in a bad transaction. Because of that is a downside of Bitcoin, and it's the reason people love privacy coins. So I mean, that's your it's your number one case for privacy coins. Is privacy coins are indistinguishable from one another because you can't trace their history, and so you can't say this privacy coin is bad because this privacy coin was used on Silk Road. The way you can say it about Bitcoin theoretically. So that's what this leaves open, is the possibility that, maybe there really will be blood coins, even though that guy sounded like a lunatic. Kevin O'Leary, I think his name is, when he came out saying there are going to be blood coins. So that's the latest story in cryptocurrency. We're determining, the story is still being written about whether people are going to accept Bitcoin as being the new store of value and whether it's going to be widely embraced or not. The story was that it was on its way to being widely embraced by corporations and everybody else. And now Elon Musk came in, decided to throw down in the energy FUD arena and kind of change the narrative a little bit. Now we're up in the air. We don't know. Is it going to see mass adoption from people that are trying to be woke? Are people that are trying to be woke, that are trying to do their ESG goals, are they going to invest in Bitcoin after all this energy FUD? That's what we're going to find out together. So that is the latest. I hope so. You know, I in spirit bought the dip. I was already all in, but I still bought the dip with an imaginary portfolio just to see. I think things are going up. But this is a wild card that people should just be aware of. First of all, lots of smart people who have been right before have different opinions about things that are happening in finance. So don't listen to me or anybody else and think that we're 100% right. Listen to other people. Listen to people who have been right before, if possible. And just weigh it up, and you have to decide, because ultimately, you know, a lot of people make a lot of wrong calls, even if they're usually totally right, totally very smart. While Michael Burry, who made billions of dollars shorting the housing market and saw what maybe you saw, maybe what some other people saw before the housing bubble crashed. Well, right now, he's short Tesla and U.S. Treasuries. And why it matters is that he's really irresponsibly short both of these things. And in a way that if he's correct, he's going to make billions of dollars. But if he's wrong, he's going to lose a lot of money. So he has a lot of confidence in this bet that Tesla's going down and that interest rates are going up. And that would mean probably that he's thinking stocks are going to go down and interest rates, are going to go up as well. And those two things happening together could be the signal of a serious crash, which could affect cryptocurrencies and everything else. So, and, it could lead to a complete financial collapse, end of the world type scenario where all bets are off. Everything might go down, including cryptocurrencies. So, and that's totally a possibility. There are other really smart people who don't see interest rates going up, like Raoul Pal, who says interest rates aren't going up and we're going into the exponential age. So there you have two people, totally different ideas. And that's why it's good to, get different people's ideas. That's why it's good if you want to come to our meetups on Sundays, talk about what's going on. It's a complex world out there. And I'll say no one person has it 100% right. I'm sure. I think I can say that with certainty. So you are still the one who has to make your financial decisions. I like crypto. I like silver too. So we'll see how those go from here. All right, so that's what's going on in the news. You guys heard what's going on with Lift the Veil. Make sure if you want to tune in for the news show to subscribe to the DLive stream, dlive.tv/lifttheveil. That's where we talk about the news, which now, I don't know, now the mainstream news talks about everything. So we'll see. But we're doing a show tonight, dlive.tv/lifttheveil. Join us for that, 5 p.m. Pacific time. That's in a couple hours. And then I'll see you the next time we're on here. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. And for YouTube, that is what it is.